All right, so if you saw this reel on my Instagram, this was the behind the scenes from a media day shoot I had back in early December. But what you didn't see in 30 seconds was everything that went into creating this look. And I get asked questions all the time. What gear did you use? What were your settings? How'd you do that? What's this piece of gear, that piece of gear, etc. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what gear I used, how I lit it, camera settings, lens choices, and how I used the Insta360 to capture behind the scenes without needing a second shooter. Okay, so first let's talk about camera lens and the Insta360 and how I have that all held together. So I'm a Sony shooter predominantly, so I use the Sony A1 II, which you can see here. And on the Sony A1 II, I have a small rig, and this is what's actually going to hold everything together. So next, lens. I use the Sony 50-150 f2. This lens has been amazing for me. I use it for pretty much all photography at this point. All my media days, it's my initial go-to. I'll switch to the Sony 28-70 f2 if I need to, but usually I don't have to swap lenses very often. And it's also great for sports action photography, especially indoors. Eliminated the need for me to bring a lot of other primes to shoot basketball, volleyball, etc. Now, the next thing is the Insta360. This is the Insta360 X5. And how I actually get this on my camera is with this small rig cold shoe adapter. And so I'll give you a quick look at, or a quick preview at what that looks like. Okay, so I'm not going to put the lens on it, but this is like the fully assembled setup that I end up using on media days. So you could see my Sony A1 II body. It has the small rig cage around it. Then the Insta360 X5 mounted on this cold shoe. And right next to it is another piece of gear I didn't talk about, which is my Westcott FJX3 trigger. I also have the Westcott small touchscreen trigger, but I think my fingers are a little bit too big for it, so I haven't been using it as much lately. Okay, let's jump into the footage that I captured and talk about the gear that you're going to see in this setup, because I always get a lot of questions about it. So first and foremost, this is the Insta360 software that I use when I've finished capturing footage. I go and I make reels based off of this footage, and it's pretty good. Not as great as CapCut necessarily, but in terms of manipulating the footage and being able to pan around the environment, it's awesome. So I already talked about my camera gear, so I'm not going to go into that, but I'm going to talk about the rest of the setup and this environment that I was in and why we ended up shooting here. So as you can see, the 360 captures obviously a 360-degree view. We're under this overhang where cars park. You can see the strip of turf, the black backdrop that's here that we're going to be using to take the individual and small group portraits. And these are two Westcott X-Drop Pros, which I've connected to each other with clamps that you can find at any photography store or Amazon. All right, now this setup here is one of my go-tos whenever I'm doing large groups. I really love doing this setup. I use it a lot, especially for volleyball, whenever I'm doing like a V style portrait, or really any sport that has that. I like using it a lot for outdoor large group shots too. So in this instance, I have 4 Westcott FJ800s, and each one of them has a deep focus reflector, also made by Westcott. And they are on newer, I never know how to pronounce it, C stands, as you could see here. Now, why is this shoot not on a field? And why is it on pavement? The reason being, it's hard to tell in here, but it is raining right now. And that's one of the reasons why we had to end up pivoting and moving this shoot on the overhang. or inside the overhang. Um, to the left and right of the team are two more lights on light stands. So both of these lights are FJ 400 Mark IIs, and they are on Westcott stands. They have 55-degree reflectors on them with blue color gels. They are the vivid blue color gels from Westcott. So the rest of the gear that you see here is my iPad Pro, which I always have with me on media day shoots. And it's tethered to my Sony A1 II. This way I can stream the photos directly to the iPad as I'm taking them so that the client can see them. And it's especially important for, I think, for female clients who, they've done their hair, they've done their makeup, they want to make sure that they look great. And you give them that opportunity to view it on a big screen where they can zoom in. And if they're happy with it, you move on. And if not, you could do a quick retake, but much better than looking at the back of a camera screen. All right, let's take a look at some of this footage really quick so you could see like the smoke machine and how that's working. So you can see I have a volunteer. They're using the smoke machine to put smoke behind the team. And that smoke is being colored blue by the blue color gels. So that's great. You'll see another volunteer back here that was ahead of the person with the smoke machine. And what they're doing is actually holding the extension cord so that the person with the smoke machine doesn't trip over it. So something that I ask people to do when we have large group shots. I am using high-speed sync for this specific shot. Not usually my first choice for team shots for sure, but in this instance, since we had the black background, I wanted to make sure we really underexposed the environment. So using high-speed sync and taking that shot the way it did, you can see how it kind of came out on the iPad, the prior version of it. This is the second version. Ended up achieving the look that I was going for overall. Could have probably done it without high-speed sync, but this was just faster for me, and I didn't want the girls sitting out there in the rain too long. Okay, let's play some of the rest of this. You can see shots taken. It'll get streamed almost immediately. And then there, I usually go and I zoom in, make sure no one blinked, make sure that the client is happy. I make sure the team does not move from where they are so that we can retake quickly if there's an issue. In this instance, there wasn't. So we're going to have them move into a different team pose. Okay, we've moved into Lightroom. So this is where I go after I've selected the photos that I want to work with and go and edit afterward. So this is the retouched raw file. And now I'm not completely done in this instance because there's one other program left, but just wanted to show you this was the image itself after I retouched it. One piece of gear that I also used was a lens flare or light flare rather filter. I love the one from Polar Pro as well as Prism FX. They both make really good ones. In this instance, the Polar Pro one, Blue Helix, is the one that I was using, or Blue Morphic rather, sorry. And I didn't have to do too much editing here. There was just a little bit of some color grading going on, making sure the highlights weren't blown. But one thing I wanted to show you was with that same light setup, we were able to pivot immediately to this look. This one didn't have smoke. Then this one did. But you could see that same light setup, we were able to go and do a few different shots in here. That all came out good. But I'm not done with the editing process after I do it in Lightroom, especially for girls' portraits, women portraits. I like to do some additional skin retouching in a much easier program, and we're going to jump over to that right now. Okay, so we are now in Avoto, and this is where I do the final amount of retouching for my portrait work. So I know that there's photographers out there that just only use Avoto. I still like using Lightroom for a lot of my work, especially the AI remove ability to take out things that weren't meant to be in the frame, those type of things, and really just all the presets that I've made there already over the last 2-3 years. It just lives there. I am comfortable with the process. But the thing that I do with Avoto that is skin retouching. So you could see that the kids are a little bit more blemish free if they had blemishes to begin with. Skin looks great. It doesn't look fake. That's what I end up doing in Evoto. And for portrait work, I might remove some stray hairs if they're in there. But this is the last mile for me before I end up sending the client the photo. If there's any kind of like, okay, I hope everyone enjoyed that video. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer any questions about what gear I use, what processes, how I approach photography, etc. I hope you enjoyed that behind the scenes look at one of my media day sessions from this past December. If you liked it, you can expect more of those kind of videos in the future. As for me, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have in the comments. Always reach out to me via Instagram if you'd like. I am very responsive there, or you can send an email through my website. Always happy to connect with other photographers and share whatever I've learned over these past few years. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Would really appreciate it. And until the next time, have a good one.